We have witnessed a whirlwind of political activity that has set the stage for a highly unpredictable campaign, unlike any we've seen in modern times. Here to share his input is Sam Scardon, chairman for the Charleston County Democratic Party. Sam, great to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me.
I want to ask the impact on the Democratic campaign of Biden stepping down and endorsing his VP, Kamala Harris.
Sure, well, a couple things. First of all, start with the fact that President Biden has an exceptional record. He got more done that matters to more people than anyone ever thought was possible in these hyper-partisan, divided times. He passed a major infrastructure bill, major bill to fight back against climate change. He's helped rebuild the economy after the pandemic. So I think first of all, let's start with the fact that the president's record is exceptional. And obviously, his age is catching up with him, and that became very apparent. So I think it was a very selfless, patriotic decision to understand that it was time to pass the torch. He did that to Vice President Harris, and in addition to being the right thing to do and injecting a lot of energy and enthusiasm into our party, I also think that it's a great contrast with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has never made a selfless decision in his life. And this is the most selfless decision we have ever seen in American politics in our lifetimes. And so not only is it the right thing to do for the party, for the country, it's also a really important focal point of this race about what we're talking about here. We're talking about a vision for the country, vision for the future, getting things done, versus someone who has always been out for themselves and would never make a decision like this. So our party is excited about it, and I think this moment reflects the choice in this campaign.
Mm-hmm. So with the wrap-up of the Republican National Convention, Trump announcing his VP pick, J.D. Vance, are there any talks of who Kamala is going to have as her potential VP?
Yeah, well, first of all, that's her decision. There's a lot of great names out there. One of the benefits of the success our party's had around the country over the past decade, really, is we have a great generation of young, new Democrats that offer a fresh vision for the country. The governors of all these swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Arizona, the governors and senators from there, they have won in purple states. They've appealed to moderate and swing voters. And they have great records at running their states and being voices for their states in the federal government. So I think she's got a great group to pick from, and I think it'll be a great choice no matter who she goes with.
Now, in your personal opinion, do you think if she does become the Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris stepping in and Biden stepping down, do you think that will bring out more Democratic voters in this election and potentially have a higher chance of keeping the White House blue?
It already has. I just tell you, before I came out here, I was checking my email. We have more volunteer signups and more donations in the last 2 days than we had the entire year leading up till now. And people are fired up. And again, we're very grateful for what President Biden has done for our country over the past 3.5 years. You can tell that Democrats are ready for the next generation of leaders, and that honestly, not just Democrats. I think moderates, independents, I think all Americans are ready for a new generation of leadership. That's what the polls were saying all the way through this election. People were saying, we don't want two 80-year-olds. We don't want Biden and Trump again. We don't. And one party listened to that and is now offering a next generation, a future vision for the country, a candidate who embodies that. And we're seeing that in our volunteer signups. We're seeing it in our donations. I'm really excited about what we can do in this election.
And so we have the Democratic National Convention that's coming up August 19th through the 22nd. But before we go, I do want to ask you, we've been seeing a political earthquake. There's been a lot going on. What do you think is going to be the impact of that on our local races here in Charleston?
Yeah, I think Democrats especially, I've been working with our party and our candidates and our campaigns for almost 2 decades now, since I was an intern on Barack Obama's campaign. There's an element of Democratic success that depends on enthusiasm, that depends on a forward-looking vision, and we have that now. I would argue that President Biden still presented that, but I think Kamala Harris can seize that energy, can seize that enthusiasm in a way that we just hadn't seen yet in this election cycle. And so, I remember the times we've won as a party, both locally and nationally. It's because we do two things. We get people excited, so we get people off their couches. People who think their vote might not matter, we need to let them know that it does. Provide that choice and provide that exciting alternative. So one, we need to draw people out. I think Vice President Harris can do that. I've already seen the evidence of her doing that. And the other thing is we need to appeal to moderates and independents and swing voters. And I think Vice President Harris has a great reputation that can do that. She was a prosecutor. She was tough on crime. When she ran for president in 2020 in our primary, she got hit for being too tough on crime.
Yeah.
And she's running against a convicted felon. What better contrast could you have to make sure moderates and independents know that their choice in this race is a prosecutor versus a felon? And I think that'll break through to the moderates and independents we need. I think her exciting vision for the country will break through to the people who might not vote otherwise. So I think that'll benefit our whole ticket up and down ballot, especially here locally.
Sam, I want to thank you so much for sharing. CharlestonDemocrats.com is where you can go for more information. Thank you again for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're back in 2 minutes.
Appreciate it.